So here I am in Sydney, Australia. I've got my next episode of Conversations with, episode number 6. And I couldn't be happier and couldn't be more honoured to welcome Doc McGhee to my little humble podcast. Good morning for me, but good evening to you, my friend.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. We love Australia. I've been there many, many times, and really looking forward. We've been obviously postponed the last couple times here, so
you have.
So we're looking forward to coming back in March, and hopefully that you guys are all up and running. And
well, hopefully
it's going to be back to normal again, but it's going to be a new world out there. But hopefully we're all part of it, and we get to see rock shows and
totally. And I haven't seen you probably I was in your office probably 3 years ago, and I remember getting that photo with you with that jar with $1 million in it.
Yeah.
Have you still got that?
Of course, my brother gave it to me. It was the first $1 million I ever had. It's and it was shredded.
Yeah, and you know that if things are tough, you come into your office and it's broken open and you're trying to stick it all together.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like when we used to have to scratch the deering grinder to get every little bit out.
Exactly. Yeah. And you look great. You look well. You look fit. Since I've seen you last, you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Mark. That's just the pandemic's been great. Well, in the sense of, I'm at home and I got to play golf and relax with my wife and get a bunch of stuff underway. So.
And you're in Nashville, yeah? You're in Nashville, not LA.
Actually, I moved from Nashville to Naples, Florida.
Ah, wow. That's a big move.
Well, I moved from California to Nashville, then Nashville to Naples, Florida. And I'm going to be down there for a little while. I'm kind of into a thing called QTR.
QTR?
Yeah, it's called Quality Time Remaining.
Yeah. Doesn't that mean that you have dinner at 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
Well, no, you don't have to do that, although I wouldn't mind having it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But no, it's just a matter of getting your mindset to say what's important to you and what are the important things that come in your life, and how do you want to who do you want to spend your time with? Yeah,
and you know what? I think that's what Corona and the pandemic did for us. It made us relook at so many different things in our lives.
Correct.
And you're exactly right. It made you look at everything from finance to business to et cetera, et cetera. And do you think that's what you got out of this the most? I mean, obviously you've always loved what you've done, and it's well recorded everywhere how much you've achieved. But do you think that's what's come out of this, that personally for you, that's what's highlighted the most?
Yeah, I think out of the pandemic, that's what's come out the most. You never think, I don't know if, for me, I don't weigh what I did as far as accomplishments to say, well, I did a great job and I did all that stuff. I had the best fucking life in the world. Okay. I mean, if they want to tax anybody, I should have been charged with an amusement tax for my life. Okay. Because I've lived a charmed life for all these years and been able to travel the world. And I bet you've been in Australia 15 times, maybe more.
Yeah.
And that goes with every place else in the world except the North and South Pole, which I've never gone to. But they don't do many shows up there, even though Metallica did. I was bummed when Metallica did it because I really wanted to go do it the first time, but they did it. Yeah.
And so with everything that you've achieved with from Bon Jovi and Motley Crue and Kiss and everything else in between, what's the one thing that, I mean, look, I could sit here and give you a list of achievements for another 3 hours, but, and again, it's well documented, but is there anything that you didn't do that you still want to do?
Yeah, be content with my life. to not want to have more.
As in the grass isn't always greener?
It's never always greener. I just want more of it all the time. Okay. So it's a different, I think it's just, if anything, it's contentment and understanding that, you know, you've, whatever you've accomplished in your life, you feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that you're, that you want to really look at the next whatever years, you know, that there is to go, that you can spend it with the people that really need you to spend it with.
And with your mindset now and everything that you've learnt and all the experiences that you've had, if you went back 40 years, how different would it be with what you know now? Or do you reckon it was better?
Oh my God, huge, huge. It would have been, because I was just on the, I'm on the treadmill, you know?
Yeah.
And when you're on the treadmill, and on my treadmill, which is a pretty fast treadmill, the deal flow is immense.
Yeah.
And the opportunities are immense. And at some point, I mean, and there was no end in sight of what I could do. Not, but with that respect, and which is great because you get to accomplish all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
But then now you start thinking about, okay, so what does that mean?
Mm.
You know, Walter Yetnikoff died a couple of years ago. I don't even know if you know who Walter Yetnikoff is.
Mm-hmm. No.
Okay. Walter Yetnikoff was the most powerful guy in the music business ever.
Mm-hmm.
There was nobody any more powerful than the guy. He started CBS Records. He built all of CBS. He built everything. Okay. And the guy died and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they probably do. I mean, probably his family, I would assume. Yeah. But he probably didn't spend as much time with his family as he should have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because those are the people that are going to remember him and really need him.
Yeah.
And those artists, I guess they need Walter, but again, I don't know where they're at today, you know, and there's just, it's like, oh shit, Walter's dead.
It takes a different, I mean, you know, with Golden Robot, you know, as we were saying off air before, you know, we've built ourselves up to 400 bands now and 13 labels, and dealing with artists, you have to be, from a record label point of view, you have to be, you know, a particular type of person because they're so creative and they're so great on one side, but other sides they can be inept. They can be not good at business or great at business. There's all these different types of artists. You need to be a certain person to be a manager, a real certain person to be able to deal with that. And you were obviously the top guy. You obviously had a part of you that could deal with all the ups and downs of the egos and the creative side, etc. How do you reckon you handled a lot of that?
You know, I think that, you know, listen, people say to me, you're at a record label and they decide that you're not going to be at the record label anymore. So I go, so what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to manage some bands. And I think to myself, fucking good luck with that. Because that's like shooting baskets in your driveway.
Totally.
And then saying that you're going to go play in the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and I have a saying called, everyone's a bull rider until someone opens the gate.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. And then you find out if you can ride the fucking bull or you can't. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not it's for me. It's been a great business. It's been an amazing business for me. My clients have been mostly great artists. They're great people.
Yeah.
Maybe not all great artists, but whatever that means. But most of them have been good people, and I think that I helped them to become better people.
That's nice. You think that's
Okay.
that was the? Do you think that was the most important part, that they needed to be good people before they were good artists?
No, they usually aren't. You usually see before the zeros. I call it before the zeros, when it's fun.
Yep.
Okay, that's when you have them all. You probably have 400 of them there over the 13 labels.
Yeah.
These guys wrote in vans, stayed on floors of people's houses,
Yeah.
wrote songs that mean shit, that mean a lot to them because it's how they lived. Okay, and then one of the band members fucked their dog but wouldn't tell who it was, and all that fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then they have a hit and the world changes.
Yeah.
Okay. And now they're businessmen, whatever that means. They're businessmen,
Yeah.
whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
And then they start becoming, everybody from family members to girlfriends to friends to their managers to everybody else blows hot air up their ass. And all of a sudden they become geniuses instead of these kids that really wrote a great record, their first record that was fucking amazing because it was in their heart.
Yeah.
See, that's the part I loved about music.
Yeah.
I listen, when I did James Brown, okay, when I managed James Brown,
Yeah.
I was 27 years old, okay? But I got to sit in and watch James Brown record. And the guy was no bullshit, didn't have ego. He didn't care if the fucking horn player was out of tune. It was all about feel to him. It was one take. And if you listen to all these other songs that he did, Please, 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 Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, all those early songs were done in Mac Emmerman's garage on a 4-track, one take.
Wow. Amazing.
And so that's where I love to see people that are creative, that sit down and write a song like, times aren't a changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That the Adeles of the world, the people that not so much just pop music, but whoever writes that fucking from the heart moment that connects with everybody.
Yeah.
Whether it's metal music or whether it's pop music. Things that, and the reason the song is only part of the process. The hit comes when people tie the artist to the song.
Yes. Yes.
When they believe both of those, then it can become monstrous.
Do you think it's harder to achieve that these days?
No, I think it's easier. I think these people here, to be honest with you, are just so full of shit.
Yeah.
On everything that I see.
Yeah.
The social media and everything is like, if you're not on TikTok and you're not in this and you're not in this, and the bands go, well, I need a social media team. I go, no, you need a fucking hit.
Yeah.
You don't need a social media team. You need a hit. Okay. When you have a hit, you get social media.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're 100%.
Well, Taylor Swift has it. Well, yeah, but you're not fucking Taylor Swift. She has 45 hits.
Yeah. Yeah. You're exactly right. You're exactly
so,
right.
But that's what they do. So instead of winning, like the only difference between when I started and now, well, it's all about word of mouth. It's just today you have a bigger mouth. You have the internet.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
But if you go back, just to get on that point, if you look at, you go back and you look at some of the best managers of all times, and obviously you're there, Peter Grant, that type of ilk, those type of top managers, you're obviously in that bunch. And you go back and look at the record executives of the times, the Geffens and all those guys, Jimmy Iovine. Who was the one that stood out to you as the most revolutionary, that you went, this guy's a fucking genius?
Ahmet Ertegun.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that.
Hands down.
The leader of the pack.
Sharpest record guy in the world.
Atlantic.
And his if you had to say, okay, this is what I said to him one time. I'm 25 years old, 26 years old. I signed Mink DeVille. Okay. Willie DeVille. This is when I loved R&B music. I had to fucking eat top ramen noodles because I couldn't make any money. but I was, but I love that music, you know what I mean? And that Cajun, that offbeat. Forgot that he was a heroin addict with his wife, a heroin addict, and everything else. That, to me, it was about the music. It was all about the style. And I was with Amit. I signed him to Amit. Amit loved him. And I was at Elaine's restaurant with him. And I said to him, I said, Amit, I don't want to bug you. I said, but, I'm 27 and you've done so much. How'd you do all this? And he set his drink down, put his hands behind his back, put his head down, and he ran into this guy at the bar, knocked the drink out of his hand, did it to like 3 people with his hands behind, just ran into him. And I thought, what the fuck is with Ahmed, man? He's lost his mind, right? And Ahmed says, you know what I did? I said, no, I have no fucking idea. Made an asshole out of yourself? I don't know. What did you do? And he said, no, what I do is I run into the geniuses. Okay. I want to be the dumbest guy in the room.
Yeah.
I want to surround myself with the best people. And that's Amit's theory of how to get. And of course, the guy was an unbelievable record guy.
Yeah.
And everything is by the seat of your pants. In our business.
Yeah, totally.
So, and nowadays, everybody sits there and they have 3 computers on their desk, a bigger window in the center and 2 on the side, so they can watch what's happening with Instagram and TikTok and all this kind of stuff, and why this guy's going crazy on a viral pitch, and they go, well, this girl, I said, yeah, but it was her cat. That's why everybody's watching her cat. They don't give a fuck about her. Okay? But no, they're going to sign her because she has 60 million. It's so retarded. And back when we started, we didn't have 3 computers on our desk. We had probably an 8-ball in the drawer, and we flew by the seat of our pants, and we found people that would pay toilets and use their own change and go out there and work, okay? And work and win every night. So where if you play in front of 5 people or 500,000 people, you do the same show.
Yeah.
And there's only a few people, forget listening to this, this podcast, but in the world, that will do this. And that's why you think that everybody says, well, it's so hard today. It's not hard today. It's hard if you do it the way they want you to do it. But who did it the way anybody wanted them to do it? I never did it. I mean, to me, artists are in a certain sense autistic. Okay, they're out on the spectrum. And the reason why they're out on the spectrum is because they don't focus on what the middle of the ground that everybody focuses on. They're either left or right. Now, the people that are focusing in the middle, that want to get to the middle, don't understand any of this shit. Okay? And that's why they're not successful. See, I go fishing in very deep water. I'm way the fuck out there, okay? So, and nothing good comes from the middle. Nothing great comes from the middle. It's a one-hit wonder, a pop single, or the Curly Shuffle, or some shit like that. But when you talk about careers and stuff, you need to have those Princes, the Bowies, the Kisses, the Bon Jovis, all those things, the Zeppelins, the Lemmys of the world. You know what I mean? You need to have those things, and you don't get there by saying, "Well, hi, today for breakfast, you know what I did? I had my cat here. Here's my cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what he did the other day? My cat. Who gives a fuck what the cat did the other day? Okay. And why are you telling these people that you're less of a star than what than you are?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't get it. People want to look up to people. They want to. That's the inherent thing. They want to look up to a Jimmy Page.
Yes.
They want to look up to a Harry Styles.
Yeah.
They want to look up and go, wow, this motherfucker knows what he's, you know what I mean? And he believes every word. You believe every word this guy's singing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't do that by TikTok.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Yeah. The essence of rock and roll was always to be real, and it was always the blood that was pumping through. And I find that with the pandemic and everything that went on, the bubblegum sort of side of pop and hip hop, I believe, and I'm spending many millions of dollars on it with Golden Robot and rock and roll, because 400 of my bands are rock and roll to the truest essence and down to the core. And I feel that rock and roll is really shifting back into the forefront because people want to be real again. They want to feel and touch and have that realness back, not the bullshit anymore.
So what do you feel that you're missing to get that message across?
I think that at this point, I don't think I'm missing anything. I think it's just that grind of just sticking to what we're good at and sticking to what we know and keep supporting and pushing these rock and roll bands out there to do exactly what you say. Forget all the bullshit. Write a fucking hit song and get the right.
That's true, but I can tell you that without one thing in my life in the 80s, probably my bands would not have been as successful or maybe even successful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even. Because when I signed Motley Crue in 1982, there wasn't one radio station in the world that would play that. It wasn't one.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't 70s, retreads of James Gang. And it was an aggressive hard rock band. And nobody would play it. But I had the tipping point. The tipping point was MTV.
Yeah.
And it was a culture, and it changed the fucking world. And in the 80s, with my bands, we owned MTV. So we had all that marketing and promotion, and we were part of that culture. Okay, so, and today they don't have it.
They don't. We don't.
There's nothing that you have them, but they're not important.
But you've got to create it, Doc. Like things like
sure. I'm saying you. I'm not saying that you can't create it without it. I'm saying you can.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
I have. I mean, I broke Darius' record at country, a black guy at country.
Mm.
Okay. With no MTV or CMT or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And, KISS, we didn't have MTV. We had MTV at the beginning, but it wasn't worth shit.
Yeah.
But so, there is a way, but I'm just saying, for a movement like you have a movement of a BTS now, that's all over the place.
Mm.
And if you're into doing that stuff, then you go, wow, that's really successful. Okay. And I take my hat off to Perlman and all the rest of the guys that put together NSYNC and put together Backstreet Boys, who are amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
I can't, you don't take anything away from them. They did amazing records and amazing work for themselves. Maybe not what a lot of people like, but they did it for themselves. But they put together these Menudos of the world.
Mm.
Okay. And out of those Menudos of the world comes a Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
Comes a Harry Styles. Comes a Justin Timberlake. Comes those. And so those will spawn from those things. But in the rock world, when you say what band has been broken in the last 20 years in rock music, and there hasn't been one.
No.
Not that broke, not that went big.
No, I understand. But entrepreneurially, I look at it like this. I look at it, if you've got a company, it's like an octopus head. And you've got the bands on a tentacle, you've got the promotion, you've got the PR, you've got things like this podcast where we're talking, you've got all these videos we do. I'm now sponsoring UFC fighters. So my logo is on their training, and they train to our songs. They go out, they're going to be walking out to our songs in the UFC.
Well, see, that's where, okay, but that's where you win, because you're finding that.
Yeah.
You're finding that tipping point. You're finding that connection.
You know what it is though, Doc?
Those are the important things, is finding those tipping points and those connections.
Yeah.
And that's why you're out there. That's why you're still in business.
Yeah. I think I'm more so, I like what you said about Ahmed, because I try to, my version of that was I always surround myself with the A team. So I have people around me, young, old, whatever, that are really, really good at what they do. And so then I can spend my time creating these opportunities.
Correct.
You know,
you can't do everything. Delegation is so important. And having that team is unbelievable. And loyalty, in order to have loyalty, you have to be a mentor.
Absolutely.
You have to be the mentor that those people that work in your office will say, you know, Mark, that fucking guy gives me an opportunity to be a better person, to be a better record guy, to understand it more.
Yeah.
And I can make decisions and not feel like I'm, you know, saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so you know what it is. You're doing it. You have 13 labels and 400 bands. I shoot myself if I had 400 bands, but you know, that's
totally. So let me ask you two questions, because you've given me quite a bit of time and I appreciate it. As I spoke to you when I was in your office, you might not remember, but to me, everything starts and ends with Led Zeppelin. I'm a massive, massive Zeppelin fan. So mentioning Armored, Atlantic, etc., obviously I'm right on that page. Do you think Led Zeppelin would have been what they were without signing to Atlantic?
Yeah. I don't know of any moves that I could have seen. When you're talking about Zeppelin, who was coming in the 60s, the late 60s and 70s, and you listen, and I too am a Led Zeppelin, not fanatic. I'm more of a Beatles freak than I am a Led Zeppelin freak, but over all the years, I really looked at Zeppelin, okay, and really, and from up until 1977, they were an amazing band to watch, okay, and then after that, they were horrible, and it wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't fun to be around. It was a horrible existence for Peter, for everybody. I mean, I got to know Peter pretty well. In the later years, and you go, wow, he missed all that shit. You know, he missed all those accolades. You know what I mean? He missed seeing his guy, even though Zeppelin, it's just so big. The music is so big on those records. And Jimmy's a genius, and he put that together. And brought Plant and everybody in. And here's the guy in his 20s. He's in the Yardbirds. You know what I mean? It's like you go, okay. I mean, what wasn't he in?
Yeah.
I mean, but back then everybody played together.
Yeah.
It was a whole Laurel Canyon scene. Everywhere around the world, especially in England and California and everything else. Hendrix and everybody else, they come in and sit and play and hang out, and there wasn't that separation of power. It was all that love of music, and
like a family.
They were coming from a place. So
how many times did you see Zeppelin?
Go ahead.
How many times did you see Zeppelin play?
7 times I've seen him play.
That's so cool.
Okay.
Wow.
And 3 of them were really good that I can remember. I talked to Paul Stanley about this a lot because he loves Zeppelin.
Mm.
And I did too. I mean, you know, the 2 greatest front guys in the world, I thought, was Robert Plant and David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
I think there was better front guys out there. You know what I mean? In their heyday, you know what I mean? And what they were doing. So, you know, and
7 times. Wow.
you know, the phrasing and the things that they did were just so unique, and that's why people remember. And the other fact is, the reason why they remember them is because they're not around.
Yeah.
They haven't been around in 40 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's starvation. So you have a band like Greta Van Fleet, who has a song that sounds like Kashmir, but it ain't Kashmir.
No.
Okay. It's like, yeah, I've heard some amazing Zeppelin cover bands,
Mm.
you know, that do their songs. So I had nothing against Greta Van Fleet, which I like. I
like them. They sell records. They're good for rock and roll. They sell music.
They're good. They're good for rock and roll. They're definitely good for rock and roll.
Mm.
So, you know, and I think that the biggest thing is that the way that we have brought up kids in the last 25, 30 years, brought people up, their expectations are way over fucking blown.
Yeah.
They think they're going to be YouTube stars,
Yeah.
and they want to be on the cover of this and that, and like they want to be on the silver screen tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then it's our fault.
Yeah.
I agree. And it's not like, hey, can you guide me through this?
Yeah.
And can you walk me through this?
But it's wrecking industries like the boxing, like those 2 Jake brothers who are boxing. It's just, it makes a farce of everything.
Yeah. Well, it just makes it less important.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like when you ask a kid today, when you say to a kid, what do you listen to? And he pulls up his playlist. He's got from Garth Brooks to Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Okay. So that when we grew up, you were loyal to a type of music.
Mm. Mm.
You were either a rockhead or you were a punk, or you dressed like it.
Yes.
Your friends knew you that's what you did. You know what I mean? There wasn't, I listen to country and I listen to hip hop and we never did any of that shit.
That's right.
It was either, if you were a rock kid, this is what and you wore this. You know what I mean? And so that culture has gone, and there's nothing wrong with changing culture, but what hasn't changed and will never change is the fact of having a star, having somebody that you look at it and you go, holy shit.
Yeah.
When Michael Hutchins stood there, you fucking knew this guy was a monster.
Yeah.
Okay. You knew Steven Tyler was the fucking craziest best. You know what I mean? You go through it all. I mean, that's just how it goes. So, and Springsteen and all the rest of them and all the greats are just because they own it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're the best.
And these kids don't want to take the time to own it.
If you were, and I'll wind it up soon because I know that you got to move on, but I have so many questions. I could sit here for hours. I'm so enthralled by everything you say. It's unbelievable because I deal with these plethora of managers every day. Some of them are unbelievable. Some of the guys I deal with in LA, I've got, and England, I got lots and lots of respect for. But there's some people I deal with that just have absolutely no idea. I wish they could spend a month with you and you could teach them the etiquette of proper management. But if you managed David Lee Roth in 1984, and they dropped that Van Halen album 1984, which was a massive superstar, biggest hit in the world, who would have given him the advice to leave that band after that album?
Some idiot.
Exactly. I mean, biggest band in the world. I'm going now to do covers. I'm now going to do my own thing. I mean, ridiculous.
I'm going to go do I'm Just a Gigolo in 1982. Okay. In 1983, I walked Vince Neil to the stage at the US Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he was shaking because it's his first big fucking show. And we're doing the US Festival with Van Halen. And Van Halen had their own island out in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Okay. And David Lee Roth drove by as we were walking to the stage, and he was in a 4-wheel drive, about 10 people on the back of this thing, which 7 of them were smoking chicks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you go, that's the coolest. I mean, how fucking much cooler is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it get any cooler?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I signed Bon Jovi, I bought Bon Jovi 5 Van Halen books.
Yeah. Interesting.
And I said, read this because
yeah.
this was 1983. Okay. And I said, read this because they're going to go away and you can take that spot. Okay. Read it. And then he's going, well, and then I showed him People magazine. I said, here's how it works. Here's People magazine. They got a picture of Neil Schon, little picture about this big on the fucking corner of People magazine. And inside they show him with his BMW and his dog and all that shit, right? And so I said, see that? He made it to People. Johnny goes, well, that's pretty cool. You got on the cover of People and all that stuff. I said, no, that's fucking horrible. Why would you want to be on the cover of this fucking bullshit magazine when your fans are not any? I said, here, I took the cover of Rolling Stone, David Lee Roth, sitting on the bed in his underwear, all fucking disheveled, with 3 chicks laying half naked on the bed, a pizza on the floor, half-eaten pizza on the floor, and the caption says, "I used to have a drug problem, but now I can afford it." Okay, so what do you who do you want to go see?
Yeah, totally.
Who do you want to go see?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean that's some of the greatest shit in the world.
Best.
And so to say, oh hey, now listen, bands are like marriages, okay? And you have problems keeping any band together.
Yeah.
And more bands will break up than not, for sure. But to say, when Sebastian Bach left Skid Row, right? And then later in life, I have to do a terrible fucking TV show called, I did it for MTV, okay, for Rick Krim at MTV, VH1. And he said, you have to do this thing called Supergroup for me. You put together the supergroup. We can't tell you who's going to be in the band. I said, well, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to have, fucking idiots. And then I'm going to look like an idiot. No, this is going to be big. I'll do anything for you. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. I show up, Sebastian Bach, Ted Nugent, the kid from Biohazard, the bass player, with his girlfriend, who's the porn star, Tara Patrick, who I really liked her. She was nice.
Yeah.
And then Jason Bottom.
Yeah.
And all that. But I'm sitting there with Sebastian, and somebody says to me, Sebastian's pissed off at you. And I go, okay, what could he be pissed off at me for? But it's been years since he's been in Skid Row.
Yeah.
But what could he be pissed? Well, you took all his publishing away from him. So I said, really? I take his publishing away from him? How the fuck did I take his publishing? I said, but let's get Sebastian. So I get Sebastian. And I go, so Baz, I hear that, do you think that I took your publishing away from you? He said, yeah, you guys, I didn't get any publishing. I said, Sebastian, you didn't write anything. Okay. If you don't write fucking something, you don't get it.
Yeah, that's right.
But he doesn't get, it's like, okay, whatever, But anyway, so he leaves Skid Row.
Yeah.
I don't say to Snake, who I love, and Scotty and Rachel, who I really, really care about, and good people. I don't say to them, something, we're gonna find a better lead singer and we're gonna go on and fuck him. I go, you're fucked. Sorry. You guys can't play with each other. You might as well, you're gonna be playing paid toilets again and using your own change, because that's, even though artistically you're gonna feel better about it. You've never been a bride. You've been a bridesmaid a bunch, but you have a chance after Slave to the Grind. They had a chance to fucking, the Pantera tour and the GNR tour.
Yeah,
they had a chance to make that step up, and they couldn't do it.
No, that's right.
So, but am I gonna fucking throw the lead singer out? You'd have to be fucking retarded.
Yeah, totally. You just, why would you build it up and then stop it like that? I totally agree with you. And there's so many occasions where that's happened and the band's just stood still for years.
And sometimes it's better, that they come back and they can do a reunion with everybody.
Yeah.
If they still mean something, but most of the time it doesn't.
No, that's exactly right. Who do you reckon? You reckon there's any reunions around the corner at the moment? I reckon Oasis will get back together eventually. Someone like that would be huge.
Well, Oasis would be huge. Well, when
we look at Guns N' Roses,
the one I think is massive.
Yeah.
Pantera.
Yeah. Yes.
Phil came to the show last night. I was thinking about last night at the show.
Yeah.
He came to the show to hang out. I've done him with Down. I love Phil because Phil owns it. He gets up there when he gets up there to fucking sing. This guy fucking owns it.
Yeah.
He is the devil. He is the guy. He's fucking out there, man. You know what I mean?
What show were you at?
At Kiss in Biloxi.
Is that where you are now, backstage?
I'm backstage now in Lafayette, Louisiana.
And they're
at the beautiful Cajun Dome.
Yeah, beautiful. How many people will get in there?
I think we have like 14,000, something like that.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Look, I've enjoyed this hour immensely. You're definitely one of the favorite people I get to talk to. I could literally sit here for hours, and then when I'm back in America in a couple of months, I'll find out where you are and we'll go out for lunch or something.
That would be fun. And meanwhile, I hope when I see you, you have 450 fucking new bands to torture you. So
450 bands, and I've shaved. I haven't shaved.
You shaved. There you go.
I'm starting to look like Rick Rubin.
No, there you go.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much for your time, and let's do this again in a couple of months. It's just always great to talk to you.
Certainly, I always have time for you, buddy.
Thank you, mate. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.